It's
in my
time to talk
30s.
about what my experience has been like trying to date in my 30s. And I say trying because I have not been able to date in my 30s. I have been with one woman 2 years ago, and she was a little crazy. And I tried to contact her again last year,
Nope.
thinking maybe that was the best I could do.
Nope.
And we went out one time and she ghosted me, not
Yep.
surprisingly. And there is a lot of ghosting in the dating world going on, and it's gotten much worse in my 30s.
Nico, how's your dating life, buddy? How old are you now? Like 27? Yeah, you're like 4 years older than me, right? What's the dating scene like for a late 20s feller like yourself?
It seemed like in my 20s, people were more open to actually meeting me. But the ghosting is pretty bad. It's not uncommon to get on a dating site and match with someone, and you talk to them once or twice, and then you never hear from them again. And people have higher standards than ever, and it's unrealistic and it's hard to keep up with. I probably don't even show up on a lot of results on dating apps because I'm only 5'8", and I know a lot of
Yeah,
girls
that man's getting filtered out. That for sure. If you're not a 6 foot king, then you're like you already get filtered out.
want guys that are at least 6 feet tall,
Yeah.
and they have access to that type of thing on online dating, which I do want to touch
That's
on
a
because I
shame.
have
That's a shame.
tried various dating apps over the years. I've been experimenting with online dating since at least
I'm celibate until I can actually provide for someone. Wow. Okay. All right. Good for you. Not celibate, bro. Celibacy gang. Hey. Celibacy gang, bro. This is the new reality, brother. Wow.
2011.
Crazy.
I think my first dating profile was on Plenty of Fish back in 2011, and that was okay. I met a few women on there. I found it interesting. It's not quite the same as it was back then when you use it now, but ever since Tinder became the main dating app, all of the
Tinder, Bumble,
other apps have gone to the
Hinge.
swiping system, and it's just a meat market of people.
Yep.
First off, I don't really like the
The
idea.
thing is, I can still get really good matches nowadays, but the only thing that's holding me back is money, but then also my own moral principles. Because a lot of these women, even if they do look good, they're probably not morally aligned with myself. So then it's still kind of like a losing situation.
Of just flipping through a catalog of people to either say yes or no to. It's not a very good opportunity to showcase anybody's personality, which, yes, I'm big on. To me, personality matters, but that's fallen out of fashion. You see, back when people met face to face,
I haven't touched a dating app in years because I found it embarrassing that I could barely make it work for myself. I'm getting there though. Just need a good job now. I believe in you, brother. I believe.
at work, at church,
I promise you, if this streaming shit works out and I actually like make a shit ton of money, I'll be giving you some. You have my word on that.
at events, and through
Because we
friends.
need to help each other out. Like my whole idea for like streaming, like always wanted to kind of follow the train wrecks thing, not the gambling side. Fuck gambling, even though I'm still kind of like dealing with my own struggles with that. I definitely want to like just like give money away to people, not like in a Mr. Beast fashion either, but just like not even on camera, just like okay, you need some money, I got you. Give your family some instead, broski. Well, obviously I'd give my family some too, obviously that. But my ideally in my head, I'd have more than enough to not only give to my family, but to give to other people as well. So that's where my head is at.
friends, you had to showcase your personality and be interesting to the other person. But now that doesn't particularly matter. It's all about looks and money. So as long as you look good or you have money or some combination of the two, you're probably going to at least be good enough for a hookup. But
I don't even want to hook up. That's the thing. I don't want to hook up with you. I don't want to hook up.
that's an entire other thing because that seems to be as much as I can get when I do get it, which is almost never, is it's just kind of a random hookup with somebody who's been on the dating apps for a while, probably more than me. I imagine the women who I match with have already gotten with several guys before they ever get to me, so that doesn't really make me feel
we are absolutely romantics. We are absolutely romantics. Which is funny enough that you mentioned that. I had a dream last night. And I didn't think I was going to have any of these dreams, but then I did. It's been a while since I've had one of these dreams where like you have a girl and she's like showing you a bunch of affection. Like I literally remember in the dream, I forgot like what the setting was. I think I remember it was like high school. It was a bunch of kids that a bunch of kids I remember from my high school. So maybe it was a high school setting. Maybe we're older, college age, and we're like at this like function or something like that. But I do remember there's this girl. She had her arm around me. And then she was like cuddling up on me, like how a girl that likes you would like do, like what she would do. And I remember we kissed. And then I think, like, you know how sometimes you have a dream and you like, you kind of subconsciously know you're on autopilot. I think I subconsciously knew I was on autopilot, but I kind of still wasn't like consciously aware of the fact that I was in a dream. I was like semi-aware that it was a dream, sort of, but like in the aspect that like, okay, I'm just going to go with the script because I enjoy the script. And then I woke up and like sometimes you forget about your dreams. Like sometimes off rip, I remember. So I think I did remember. And then I forgot like for like a few minutes and then I remembered again. I'm like, dang, like for at least a few minutes, I had an ideal sort of situation going for me where somebody actually like liked me for me, or, you know, I had some sort of physical affection that it wasn't even sexual. It was just physical, like just physical touch. Man, this is what a lot of men feel, unfortunately. So many touch deprived men, so many men that have never had a girlfriend, never had sex, never had a first kiss. I'm fortunate enough to have done that stuff. Although I'm not really sure if it was really worth it to even have like a first kiss or like to have sex. But I mean, at least I had it, I guess. But like myself going through all those things and still feeling the way I feel, like how deprived I am of like the opposite sex's like attention. I can only imagine how it feels for the average guy or just any person who has never experienced that in their entire lives. I think I'd be suicidal, but maybe those guys are suicidal. Shit, some days I'm still suicidal and I'm in the place where I'm at. I have been suicidal and I've been in the place where I'm at. So it's kind of like, what? Like how do the bottom of the barrel people feel? How do the bottom percentage, like bottom like 80% of men feel? Because 80% of women only want 20% of the men nowadays. So it's kind of like how does everybody else feel? Maybe I'm in the 80%. I don't know. Like maybe I'm in the top 80%, or maybe I'm in the top like, I don't really know. I don't really care. I mean, I do care, but like I can't care as much because there's nothing I can really do at this current moment in time that's going to change that. But regardless, that dream really had me feeling some type of way, brother. Man. And I saw my old friends that I don't talk to anymore. And it was just like, man, why is this stuff being brought up like now? Like, kick me while I'm down. Why don't you?
Struggling on the dating apps. The girls who I am able to match with, there's no telling how long they've been using the app and who they've been hooking up with.
STDs are a very real thing.
So
I honestly don't even want to take that risk anymore.
It's not really a lot of fun. It used to be fun. But
I don't even think I could like get a hook. Like, well, I could probably get a hookup, but I don't want a hookup. But like, if I did get a hookup, I really don't even think I could fully follow through with it at this point. Like, I'm so morally against that now. I don't think I could go back unless I was like in a really, really weak position. But like, it's just not fulfilling.
It's not a lot of fun anymore, and it seems like the primary way to meet people, unless you do happen to meet somebody out there in the wild and you're one of the lucky ones, and I understand that still happens to people, but usually when folks are looking to meet or date or hook up or anything of that nature, they go online and use the dating apps because you get
It's
this
so much easier than
huge
meeting someone
selection
in
of
real life.
people from your local area and surrounding areas, or really wherever you want. You can use it traveling as well. And as in many species of animals, the women do the selection. So as a guy, you just have to do the best you can to get selected. And if you're not one of the guys who are chosen regularly, you just kind of have to deal with it. And it's the
Yep.
way it's always been, but it's harder than ever
Yep.
because now you have to be a tall, attractive, wealthy man
Yep.
to even get just
Attention.
a normal woman, just a
Yep.
normal, regular, base level woman. Which
A
is
mid,
all-
literally a mid girl, just to get the attention of somebody who's mid as fuck. That's what we're dealing with now.
I really want. I just want to be with somebody who
Loves me for me.
appreciates me. I
Yep.
would prefer if she was attractive, yes, but that's not really
Realistic.
difficult to achieve with me. I like a woman with a nice smile who's in decent shape. She doesn't have to be a 10 out of 10 or a supermodel or a celebrity. She just has to be cute. And also,
Well, okay, mid isn't even bad. Like if you're a 5, average isn't even like bad. Let's be real. But even an average looking woman like still is attractive. Like let's not get it twisted. Like even if you're average looking or slightly above average, like if you're a 5 to 6, that's really like the sweet spot. What do they say? Get like a 6 or a 7 and you'll be happy. Like I think that's the saying. Like you really don't need like a supermodel looking woman. Like she just needs to be attractive enough that you like are attracted to her, and then she has like good personal qualities. That's about it. It really doesn't take us. It really doesn't take much for men, but apparently the standards have been so elevated for the women's side of things. Like it's just ridiculous.
find me attractive as well because I don't think I'm the worst looking guy, but with the dynamics of dating,
I don't think I'm the worst looking guy either, but I'll be sure to tell you there are some days where I do feel like I'm the ugliest guy based off of like just how society is nowadays. And it fucks with your brain. I can't speak. It fucks with your brain. It fucks with your mind. I was trying to say brain and mind at the same time. I always do this stuff. I have like a stuttering problem. I can't help it. It fucks with your mind so much. It's crazy. Like I be going on like random ass like well obviously dating apps like whatever like yeah, but like you know sometimes I get bored and I just go on like those like Omegle. Well, Omegle doesn't exist anymore, but I'd be going on those apps. Just I'm bored purely just because I'm bored. I'm not even looking for anybody like, I mean, you know, you're just looking for some conversation. And then some people will just like instantly skip you. Like sometimes that makes you feel bad. They just like go, ugh. And then they instantly skip you. I'm like, damn, I can't be that ugly. Like, come on now. I can't, come on. Like, really? I can't be
it's
that
just
ugly.
hard to tell if I'm ugly or even slightly attractive at all because when I was in my 20s, it wasn't all that bad. I
Right.
would have semi-frequent hookups at least once or twice a year minimum
Yep.
up until I was
Yep.
25.
Damn.
Because
I've been capped off at 20. I've been capped off at 20.
once I turned 26, it was really a drought. And I had a dry spell from the time I was 26 all the way up until I was 30, 31. So, and now I'm on another dry spell. And it's partially because I don't really go out to meet women. It's also because I don't do the online dating thing anymore. And I just don't put in as much effort as I used to because there used to be a possibility if you were persistent or you played your cards right or you were smooth enough in the moment, you could have a chance. But now
You gotta be perfect. You have to be perfect. You can't, it's the slightest slip up and she's gone.
slim. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with approaching because there's a lot of women who want to be approached instead of making the first move. But you better know that you could get turned down in a split second. And if she's not showing you signs of interest, you might be better off just not even trying to avoid the shame and the embarrassment. But if you just have to go for it. Just be prepared to get rejected because women aren't really welcome to being cold approached like they used to be. I'm not saying it's totally
Me
dead,
Too
but
movement has ruined that.
in the 90s and early 2000s, that's just how you met people. That's the reason why people went to bars to go to hang out, because that's where you met people. People were more interested in clubs and just any reason
The club and bar
to
scene is
gather with
trash,
others
too.
on a semi-regular basis and have a healthier social life, where now dating and other aspects of your social life are usually separate. You have your friend group and then you have your significant other, whereas back in the day, it was kind of one and the same. It was all tied in, but everything is so based online now, and it hasn't been very advantageous for me because although I don't consider myself hideous, I'm not particularly photogenic, and also I'm just not tall, and I'm not the most attractive guy, so yeah, online dating has been a struggle for me.
Cooked.
When women meet me after
Cooked.
we talk for a while, if they finally want to get out and meet me, I feel like they've been
Duped.
underwhelmed by my appearance, probably because of my height, because I'm 5'8", and I'm just not really tall, and I feel like women are underwhelmed by that because they've been on the dating apps for so long. There's no telling how many guys over 6 feet tall they've been with, so they match with me because my face might look okay, but then they finally meet me, and you can see it in their eyes that
He's like, oh,
maybe
he's
I'm
not
not
tall
as cute
enough.
as the last guy they were interested in, or the last guy they matched with, or maybe I'm not as wealthy, because I'm sure they're matching with guys who got plenty of money, pulling up on them in nice trucks and offering them the world on the first date. And I just kind of want to grab a coffee and get to know the woman that I just matched with.
Yeah, they're not interested in that.
That's how I like to meet people. I just want to have a conversation and just look into their eyes a few times and get a feel for who they are. But it's hard for me to get that. In the 2010s, I wasn't considered so unattractive, but now it's hard for me to
It's
find women
impossible.
who are interested.
Try to find somebody who actually likes you for you. Level impossible.
And when I do get matches online, it doesn't particularly go anywhere, because you have to get the conversation going, and that's fine, but then you have to keep the conversation going, and then different people have different time periods that they want to meet you in. It seems like 2 to 3 weeks is the sweet spot, but then some girls are like, if we don't meet after the first week, there's no point to it, and not everybody.
From my experience, has usually been after the first week. If you're not making plans after the first week, it's cooked. And like that, I'm sure that's the same now, if not worse, just because of the fact that attention spans are so freaking short. Like, you'll just forget about the dude if you're not in constant communication.
puts this stuff in their bios, and it just made more sense when you went to the local watering hole and you knew the people who went there, and you knew if somebody was single and you could make an approach and see if that worked out, and if it didn't, you could just try somebody else. And that was part of the whole point of younger adults going out, is because you could meet the people in your local area and find who you get along with, who you might want to hang out with outside of those local watering holes. But people don't really do that anymore. Everybody lives their lives online. A lot of people work online, so they don't even go out to run into everybody else out in the world. And hooking up with people at work is riskier than ever. I finally realized that because it was a
Yeah, don't do that. Don't. Nah, that's a bad idea. What's the saying? Don't shit where you eat. I think that's the saying. But definitely don't mix work and pleasure together.
pretty normal thing in the 2010s when I was working to hook up with people who you worked with. But now it's not something you want to get into, because you could risk your job or get in trouble legally, because anything can be interpreted as sexual harassment, and it's really not even a good idea to get involved, even if she follows through with it at first, because a woman can change her mind while things are happening and then not talk to you anymore, and you get ghosted and possibly even get in trouble. So hooking up with women at the workplace is more risky than ever, even though that used to be somewhat commonplace when I started working. It seemed like you had at least one work couple everywhere you went, and it still seems to be a place everywhere you go. Seems like you have at least two people who are getting together, if not a straight up dating functional couple at almost everywhere you work, but at a job that I've had somewhat recently, I took the risk with a girl and it didn't work out, and she went out with me a couple of times and then she decided she didn't like me anymore. Maybe I was trying to get in her pants a little too quickly. Either way, she decided she wasn't going to hang out with me anymore, and she told the boss that she had a problem with me at work.
No.
And I got written up with a sexual harassment write-up.
No.
Fire me, but they told me if anything like that happened again, I would be losing my job, and I shouldn't have even signed the paper where they wrote me up. I should have just walked out right then and there, because the shame I felt after that from the group, because obviously everybody had talked about it. Of course, I'm sure word had gotten out.
That
they probably
sucks.
had a meeting about me while I wasn't there. And yeah, just the shame and embarrassment of that even happening, just I walked out one day. And I've walked out on a lot of jobs too, so dating in my 30s has been pretty much a train wreck. I don't really try much these days. If I thought I had a strong possibility of success,
You would try.
I would get back on the horse, but
Yeah.
the online dating thing is just way too shallow, and meeting people out in the wild.
These girls be catfishing too. The last chick I went on a date with, when we went to Waffle House, she looked nothing like her pictures. I was like, oh. She also showed up late too. And that's the thing I noticed too. Like, if you're going to actually show up to the date, like, show up on time. Like, we even scheduled to, like, do it later because she said that she needed a little bit of extra time. But then it was the fact that when the actual time for her to, like, show up came, like, I was sitting there for, like, a solid 30 minutes to maybe an hour before she showed up. And she looked nothing like her pictures. Like, after all that makeup was off of her face and all that shit, like, she looked nothing like her pictures. It was, like, completely different. I was like, wow, it's not even worth it. Like, this ain't gonna work out.
Wild is just rare, and I don't have the strongest social skills either, and I know I'm constantly competing with all the other guys out there that are looking for single women, and it's hard to find somebody who's on the same wavelength as you, so you just have to deal with it until you find somebody. And if that person never comes into your life, well, then you have to be comfortable with that as well. So dating in my 30s, not as fun as it was in my 20s. I'm still open to meeting somebody who I think would make a good companion, but I'm definitely not counting on it. And
Yep.
I think
This
it's
is the
a
unfortunate
good idea
reality.
for guys to get comfortable with the fact that you might be alone forever. But that's not so bad either.
Yeah, it's not.
Being alone makes you feel like you're in a torture chamber. You need to work on something within.
That I agree with that. If being alone feels like torture, then there's got to be something inside that you got to change. Because being alone used to feel that way for me, but I've gotten so used to it because I actually did the internal work. It's actually my peaceful place. I love being alone. As much as I desire connection from somebody else in person, it's not something that I feel like is a necessity for me. And that's a powerful thing when you can relinquish something that has had control over you for so long, and you can actually start gaining more control and freedom because of it. It's a wonderful thing to feel. Unfortunately, that's just the circumstances we live in. But I mean, I'm chilling, bro. I got everything I need, really. I got food, I got clothes, I got a house, I got my parents. What more could I ask for?
And I know that sounds like a cope, but it's worked for me. You know, don't hate yourself so much to where when you're by yourself you feel miserable. But yeah, I get it. Being alone sucks, but I think that's just how it is for guys now. There's really not much we can do about it unless war breaks out or some other extreme event happens. So
if war broke out, I'm not fighting for the military. I'm not fighting for the head honchos that control all aspects of human existence just to go die for them. I'm not dying for that. I'm just
happy, not. All that jazz. Try not to rope.
Try not to rope. Try not to rope. Don't rope. So the first comment, it was impossible for me at every stage of my life, so nothing has changed. Damn. Ah. Dating is impossible now. The amount of stuff you need just to be able to get a date is depressing. I feel like I will never be enough for a woman to even like me, let alone love me. These women don't love you, bruh. They never did. Let's be real. We don't love them hoes. But that's the thing. We don't love them hoes. We don't love them hoes, bruh. It's all good. We don't love them hoes.